In the fall of 2004, the Iraqi city of Fallujah became the focal point of one of the fiercest urban battles involving U.S. forces since Vietnam. Over the course of weeks, American Marines, soldiers, and Iraqi forces engaged in grueling, close-quarters combat to wrest control from entrenched insurgents. This is the story of the Second Battle of Fallujah, told through the words and memories of those who fought there. In early 2004, Fallujah, located roughly 40 miles west of Baghdad, had become a stronghold for insurgent forces. After an initial attempt to pacify the city in April ended with a negotiated ceasefire, the situation only worsened. By late autumn, extremist fighters, both Iraqi and foreign, had fortified the city into a virtual fortress. The U.S. military command, alongside newly trained Iraqi forces, prepared to retake Fallujah, convinced it was a crucial step towards stabilizing the region and crippling the insurgency. Operation Al-Fajr, the Dawn, launched in November. The plan: encircle the city, isolate the insurgents, then move block by block. It would test the endurance, courage, and resolve of every service member involved. Operation Al-Fajr, meaning the Dawn, began on the evening of November 7, 2004. It was a coordinated assault involving over 12,000 U.S. Marines, Army soldiers, and Iraqi forces. Supported by artillery and airstrikes, coalition forces attacked Fallujah from the north, breaching insurgent defenses at the city's outskirts. One of the first objectives was to secure the northern bridges over the Euphrates River, cutting off escape routes for insurgents. Meanwhile, precision airstrikes targeted known insurgent strongholds, softening enemy positions before ground troops advanced. The Jolan District, a dense urban area in northwestern Fallujah, was the primary stronghold for insurgents. Coalition forces moved block by block, using tanks and amphibious assault vehicles to shield infantry units. Marines breached buildings systematically, often using grenades to clear rooms and avoid booby traps. Insurgents countered with hit-and-run tactics, using tunnels and hidden firing positions to ambush advancing troops. The fighting in Jolan was some of the most intense of the entire battle, with coalition forces relying on superior coordination and firepower to overcome the defenders. As the battle progressed, insurgents fell back to secondary defensive positions deeper within the city. Coalition commanders adapted their strategy, deploying reconnaissance drones to track enemy movements and direct airstrikes with pinpoint accuracy. Heavy artillery and mortars provided continuous fire support, targeting fortified buildings and sniper nests. Simultaneously, engineers worked tirelessly to clear IEDs and dismantle barricades, ensuring safe passage for advancing troops. The coordination between infantry, armor, and air support proved critical in maintaining momentum. In the southern industrial sector, coalition forces encountered stockpiles of weapons, ammunition, and explosives hidden in abandoned factories and warehouses. Insurgents used these facilities as staging grounds for counterattacks and ambushes. Fighting in the industrial sector was brutal, with close-quarters engagements often decided by sheer determination and tactical precision. By securing the industrial zone, coalition forces deprived the insurgents of their supply lines and a critical base of operations. By mid-November, the battle shifted to the city center, where the last pockets of insurgent resistance remained. Coalition forces used overwhelming firepower to clear remaining strongholds, while combat engineers neutralized tunnels and fortified bunkers. Street-to-street fighting continued, but insurgent defenses began to collapse under the relentless assault. Many insurgents attempted to flee the city, only to be intercepted by coalition forces holding key exit routes. By November 16th, the city center was under coalition control. In the final days of the battle, coalition forces conducted mop-up operations to root out remaining insurgents hiding in tunnels and safe houses. Troops discovered vast caches of weapons and explosives, highlighting the extent of insurgent preparations. Fallujah was declared secure on November 20th, marking the end of the largest urban combat operation since the Vietnam War. The battle dealt a severe blow to the insurgency in Iraq, but left the city scarred by destruction and loss. The Second Battle of Fallujah was a turning point in the Iraq War. It demonstrated the coalition's ability to conduct complex urban operations while showcasing the resilience of those who fought there. However, it also underscored the immense cost of modern urban warfare for both soldiers and civilians.
We knew it wouldn't be easy. The insurgents had time to dig in booby-traps, IEDs, fortified positions. We were preparing for the toughest fight of our lives. For weeks prior to the assault, U.S. artillery and aircraft bombarded key targets. Predator drones patrolled overhead, gathering intelligence. Meanwhile, Marines rehearsed room-clearing tactics and urban warfare drills. We'd heard the stories. Snipers were everywhere. Every window or rooftop could hide someone ready to take a shot. There was a sense of grim determination. We wanted to go in, do our job, and get our brothers home safe. On the night of November 7th, coalition forces attacked from the north. The Marines of the 1st Marine Division, supported by the U.S. Army and Iraqi units, advanced through the outskirts. The atmosphere was tense and surreal, dark streets lit only by the flicker of gunfire and the occasional explosion. We kicked off just after dark. You could feel the adrenaline. Our orders were clear: push in, secure the northern bridges, and move block by block. We knew the enemy was waiting.
Fighting in Fallujah was characterized by close-quarters combat. This wasn't an open desert engagement. This was street to street and house to house. Insurgents used the city's dense layout to their advantage. They dug complex tunnel systems, rigged homes with improvised explosive devices, and used civilian structures as sniper nests. We moved slowly, always expecting the next house to be a death trap. Sometimes we'd find rooms littered with weapons, ammunition belts, RPGs. Other times it was eerily quiet, just empty rooms. But the silence was never comforting. Marines would often engage the enemy at a distance of mere feet, using grenades to clear rooms or blasting through walls to bypass booby-trapped doorways. Their training in urban combat, especially tactics honed in previous operations, proved critical. Everyone was looking out for each other. A single bullet could come from anywhere, so we stuck together. I patched up guys under fire and they covered me. That sense of brotherhood kept us pushing forward. Morale was a crucial weapon. Letters from home, the camaraderie of fellow Marines and soldiers, and the shared sense of purpose drove them on. They believed in their mission, to remove a terrorist stronghold and protect the Iraqi people. We reminded ourselves why we were there. The people of Fallujah deserved a chance at peace. We were there to give them that by facing the worst that the insurgents could throw at us. The fighting peaked in intensity as coalition forces pushed deeper into the city's heart. Engaging insurgents became a deadly game of hide and seek. Snipers targeted exposed Marines. Insurgents launched hit-and-run attacks from rooftops and alleyways. My spotter and I were positioned on a rooftop. We had a narrow field of view down a street littered with debris. We had to be patient, waiting for the slightest movement, a hint of an insurgent with an RPG. When we took a shot, it had to count. Casualties were inevitable. Field medics worked tirelessly. Evacuation teams risked their lives to retrieve the wounded. Yet, unit cohesion remained strong, and the relentless advance continued. By mid-November, U.S. and Iraqi forces had cleared most of the city's northern and central districts. Insurgent defenses began to crumble. Many tried to flee. Others fought to the death. Slowly but surely, the city fell under coalition control. We fought side by side with the Americans. For us, Fallujah was not just a city, it was our future. Taking it back meant sending a message that we would not let terrorists rule our country. When the guns fell silent, Fallujah was changed. Large swathes of the city lay in ruin. It was a cost paid dearly. Over 80 U.S. troops lost their lives, and hundreds were wounded. Insurgent losses were heavy. Civilians had endured immense hardship. After it was over, I walked through those streets and felt a mix of sadness and pride. We did what we had to do. We faced a determined enemy and pushed them out. But the cost was high for us and for the people who called this city home. Fallujah suffered greatly. We just wanted peace. When the Americans and Iraqi soldiers finally cleared the city, we hoped it meant a new beginning. The Second Battle of Fallujah remains etched into the annals of U.S. military history. It showcased the intensity of modern urban warfare and the resilience of those who fought there. It underscored the complexity of the conflict in Iraq and the tremendous sacrifices required. As we reflect on those weeks of brutal combat, we honor the courage and dedication of the service members who entered those ruined streets, determined to make a difference. Their stories, marked by hardship, loss, and unyielding spirit, ensure that the legacy of Fallujah will not be forgotten.